Hello and welcome to another edition of Debunking the Vigilant Christian. In this video, we'll be taking a look at another video of his series, Vigilant Manhood 101. Now, Mario, I know you're not that fond of all that fun and cool stuff we both grew up as kids in the 90s and early 2000s, but would you mind doing me a favor? I need to dissect another one of your videos, and my Pikachu Rona keeps distracting me. Yes, Rona, just a minute. Anyway, I was asking if you would babysit her for the duration of this video. I know you don't like Pokemon all that much because you think they're evil and satanic and we know the drill, but I really have no one else. So please, if you would be so kind.
Pika.
It's okay, sweetie. Mario knows the consequence of mistreating you, doesn't he? Okay, let's get right into this. I cut out the first few minutes of this video because it's just a presentation by this dude, and yeah, the rest of the video is essentially Mario just rehearsing what this guy said. So yeah, let's get right into this.
Alright, so there's a lot of good points there, so let's go ahead and elaborate. The first one I want to elaborate on is where he talked about putting away childish things. And this is talked about in the scriptures, and it is a very important process in manning up. At some point, boys, you got to put your toys away and man up.
And why should we do that? I mean, sure, when we're talking about a see or something like that, and you don't want to have kids yourself, then I guess I could kind of understand it. But, I mean, what about toy cars? What about, the first old 90s Game Boy modules or even the first Game Boys? I mean, why would you throw that away? Apart from the nostalgic value, I would assume that by now, 30 years down the road, these things actually would be very coveted by collectors for a very high price.
A lot of you are so consumed with your toys, whether it be basketball or hockey or sports. Some of you it's computers and video games. Others it's going out with your buddies. If these things have taken priority over your relationship with your wife, then you've got a serious problem.
I don't have a wife. This does not apply to me. Also, isn't it kind of hypocritical of a personal trainer to advise people not to do sports? Don't know about any of you, but I would see that as a pretty epic fail.
The next thing that boys do that men don't do is lust after Jezebels. Basically, these women who go around and they become players, these guys. And that's a boy that does that. What I've put on your screen here is a picture of LMFAO, and he's surrounded by girls. And the way that the media has manipulated the minds of us today, most young men and even men would be like, oh, he's so lucky, look at all those hot girls around him.
First of all, who? Never heard of this guy. What is he, a rapper? Second of all, I can find pictures of at least 4 women that are more attractive than those 4 bitches. In fact, let's do that. So for your enjoyment, dear viewers, here are 4 women that are more attractive than those 4 dumbasses in this picture. Anyway, let's get back to the subject matter, shall we?
Another thing that is mentioned in the clip that is very good is that no movie in our society will show us what a real man of God looks like. All we see in media is these players and these testosterone-filled men and these drunks. Okay, so there's no good man role model, and I've talked about that before in this series, and he touched upon that. And that's so important for us to realize that you're not going to see it out there on television or in movies, brothers. All right, so you need to listen to me here. This is what being a man is all about, and the media is making sure that you don't have a clue because they don't want you to be men. Real men are going to have a massive effect in society, and they don't want that. They want us beer drinking, playing, testosterone filled, punching each other out. Fools. That's what they want, and they've done such a good job. The majority of men in our culture are now becoming like that.
The drunken peasants already explained to him that many TV shows that feature drunken fools and sloths are essentially making fun of this. These kinds of people have existed long before TV was even a thing, and shows like that simply just take this, what's already out there, and essentially mock it and make fun of it. But yeah, then again, I could see how someone like Mario, who thinks that frigging mirrors are essentially occultic, wouldn't know the difference between anything and, yeah, well, quite frankly, anything.
The other thing that is talked about is when you man up, men, you're going to really know how to love your wife. You're going to know to love her unconditionally with agape love. And I've talked about this in the second video of this series, What is True Love? And that's agape unconditional love. Go ahead and watch that video to understand the true way that a man loves his wife.
Yeah, and I've already explained to him that there's no such thing in Christianity. His love for Jesus is entirely conditional, as Jesus does clearly lay out the do's and don'ts of any relationship with him.
There's no conditions, and it's an absolute gift from God, and it's so powerful. And a woman is truly blessed when she receives this type of love.
Which, again, is conditional. The terms and conditions are, for example, obedience, consent, shutting up in public, walking 10 steps behind your husband, staying in the kitchen, etc., etc. We've already been through that. Well, that was that. I guess the video's over. There's nothing more left to debunk. So, Mario? How is my Rona holding up? What, what, what the hell did you do to her? Holy crap, what happened to you, Rona? But then again, I shouldn't actually really be surprised by all this. I mean, we know what you're like, so just in case, while I was dissecting your video, I also found this yellow Pokemon Flute on eBay. Anyway, this wonderful little item has the wonderful power of healing my sweet little Rona of the confusion you've sown upon her. And you remember what I told you about the consequences for mistreating her, don't you? Alright, Rona, you know what to do. Thundershock, now! A moment of silence for this lost soul. Well, this was my rebuttal to the third part in this series. Stay tuned for more, and as always, have a good time.